Okay, I don't have a lot of time, so I want to touch on a couple of things, but see that right there? I had a few of those, and I had a few beers while I was playing Carthage. And this game, wow. So let's try and be, look, this is not going to be concise, and it may end up being a rant. I don't know, in a good way. It'll be a rant in a good way. We just finished playing our first Carthage campaign, and I picked up this cheesy gamey naval victory, auto victory, and that really immediately we decided to reset and start playing again because we're really fascinated by the system. And Richard has played many times or several times, and obviously the rules have changed over time. Last time he played was quite a decade or more ago. So we reset with the visceral expectation that things are going to be different this time, and he's going to play the Romans, and he's not, which is what he played last time. And there's no swapping sides thing, and he's going to give it back to me, right? Well, this game is a Gordian knot of rules. There are several subtle, complex issues that bubble up as you play the game. And particularly for the Romans have this really difficult time of where are you going to allocate a consul, a proconsul, a praetor. You're going to go do this. You're going to prorogue a guy. You're going to, the guy that was working last year, is he going to continue to work the next year? How are you going to handle all these different things? And what does it mean? And what does it mean to land combat? And what does it mean to naval combat? And what does it mean? That's all this stuff. So it's thick and complex and difficult. And someone needs to build a freaking flowchart of choices, not of rules, not a rules flowchart. I've seen the rules flowchart, and that's fine if you're that guy that wants to use that, but I can't do that. No. I want something to give me some insight into the choices. And why do I need that? I need that because the rules suck. Richard Berg, seriously, get off your lazy ass. When you do Thunderbolt, if and when you ever do Thunderbolt, please use Ralph Shelton or someone of note who is clear and concise and can write meaningful rules that don't contradict each other and don't make things difficult and don't, roll over this and under that and have this happen in siege attrition, have this not happen in inertia attrition, have this not happen in battle attrition or movement attrition. Makes it 5 times harder. I've never looked up rules so many freaking times in my life as I have with this game. It's fucking awesome. I mean, sorry, not suitable for work moment. This game is so rich in theme and detail and historical note. And I say that from my novice perspective of ancient history and my friend Richard's background, which he only has maybe, 80 or 100 books on the ancient era. So he's not, a professor or anything like that, but he's well read. And he is also understanding of game system mechanics. So I feel like we're both seeing the same types of things, which is very validating for me, little novice, little dumbass me, to play with a guy like him who understands the history and the nuance and the flavor of what the game is trying to portray, but not being one of these, high-strung jackasses who's got to have every freaking single thing that ever happened in ancient history. First Punic War happened exactly how it should, like a freaking railroad. So we're having the best time. So we're playing this game, and this time the second game is working out so completely differently that it's fabulous, right? And probably more along historical lines. Carthage doesn't take Messana in the first turn. Rome moves 2 consular armies into Messana, into the hex that Messana is in, puts both of them in the field, and duly calls for battle, right? So we get into this battle situation. Well, he doesn't have the best leaders because they're all sucky ass leaders. I've got elite cavalry. I've got the Syracusan cavalry, and I've got a better leader. He rolls a 0 for his leader capability, and I roll a 9 for mine, +4 modifier on the combat. All of a sudden, this combat that was going to be, at 2-to-1 odds and give him a good DRM is looking kind of shaky. He rolls it really badly on the combat roll. So we end up with a major victory for the Carthaginians. So in my mind's eye, I can see the Syracusan elite heavy cavalry and the Carthaginian pike and all the Libyans and Numidians. Okay, no Carthaginian pike. Sorry for perfectionists because they weren't there. And the Roman legions, pre-Marian Roman legions, they're all arrayed and banging at each other. 0 losses. 0 losses for the Carthaginians. 20% for the Romans. Huge, right? So you think, okay, well that's great. So now he only uses one of the consular armies because he can't use both because his leader is not able to use both. One of the nuances of the game. Fantastic. So anyway, this goes on and on and on. This is the second turn of the game. And by the end of the second turn of the game, Massana's walls are being reduced to level 1 of 3. The legions that retreated, both legions retreated into the city. They've now faced 3 rounds of siege attrition, so things are looking kind of bad. So he pops out, tries to sally, and has an attack, and again, it doesn't go well. No, that's right. He doesn't do that. He tries to leave. He tries to leave the Hex with his strong consular army that didn't participate in the battle, who is not reduced to the useless format, which is a status, disrupted, disorganized, and useless. No, he brings his second army out, and we may have made a mistake here with the ratings of the various units, but nevertheless, catch this. So he comes out. I intercept, boom, have another battle. Full legion versus my little punk-ass Syracusan army and Carthaginian army. And we have a very interesting situation again. And once again, although it's not a major victory, this time it's a 20-20. We both lose the equivalent. But because of the DRMs, I only lose 15%. He loses 20%. So he doesn't have to retreat. He stays in the Hex. So now he has an army out of Massana, an army in Massana. We have 2 more attritions. Things are looking grim. Turn wraps up. Mind blown. Wow. The contradiction between the effort involved with the rules and the value of gameplay can best be epitomized by the fact that my opponent is cursing like a dog, like a sailor, just as I was when my rolls went bad, throwing pens across the table, and we're all digging into rules, trying to find ways out of terrible situations or understand what the hell we're supposed to do in a given particular instance in a particular point in time in the game. Incredibly rich experience. One of this probably 4 of the best hours I've spent gaming, and admittedly 4 of the best hours really because I was kicking his ass all over town. Certainly was not expecting that to happen this turn. I was expecting to have my ass kicked by 4 consular legions. A legion is a mark, kind of like a bowler, but don't worry about that. Legions all across eastern Sicily, but that didn't happen. I'm starting to understand how this dude plays, and so we're working each other out. Fantastic play. It's now almost 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop. So I had my little crazy rant about this game. I had to get that out of my system because I have no one else to tell this to. at the very least I can tell myself, and I've recorded it for posterity, that I want to thank Richard for providing me a rich experience that goes beyond just the game. We spent an hour afterwards in his library with 1,000 fabulous volumes of books and talking about Teddy Roosevelt and World War II and World War One and ancient history and the Romans and the Roman Senate and how it all worked and stuff. Looking at some of the other games he's got set up and he's playing. Really an engaging, interesting experience that was an even exchange of commentary. I don't know if sometimes you might meet guys that talk too much, and I'm one of those. I'm guilty of that. I get so excited when I meet other gamers. I just blah 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 blah. So I'm trying to be very restrained with Richard and give him an opportunity to say a word or two. Anyway, you have a good night. Find great players and play games and roll dice later.